was like the one thing that really kept me grounded in this really challenging time in my life. Notebooks, timer, 2 minutes, 2 writing exercises, and I'm right beside you doing the writing exercises as well. Today I have taken inspiration from my own notebook. I started this notebook in the summer of 2017, and I wanted to write a book about life coaching and writing. So I thought I would start by using some of the insights. So today we're looking at our relationship to our creative pursuits, or maybe our relationship to our work, relationship to our writing practice. So relationship to something that's really important to you at the moment, and a relationship which may or may not be as you want it to be. So the reason I've chosen this topic in relation to my notebook is that quite soon after I committed to writing this book about life coaching and writing, the romantic relationship that I was in fell apart. I came home one day and my partner said that they wanted to leave. And I realized as I committed to writing 1 page in this book a day, it got through the book, and I was so grateful that I had my writing. It was like the one thing that really kept me grounded in this really challenging time in my life. And it struck me that that's not always the case with a creative practice, that for some people that I work with, when life gets really challenging, the creative practice suffers. So I thought it would be really useful to look at our relationship to our creative practice, or our relationship to our dreams, or our relationship to our career, whatever it is that sometimes suffers if life is not going according to plan. So it has to do with expectations. What expectations are you putting on your practice, or what expectations are you putting on your career? Just as in the same way, if you're putting too much expectations on a romantic relationship, often there can be disappointment, or often the other person can begin to feel under pressure, like they have to deliver, and things start to feel a little bit sour. So we're going to look at expectations, and we're also going to look at unconditional love. Because when we're in relationship with something, with an energy of unconditional love, it offers freedom. And with freedom, I certainly know with my own experience, creativity, inspiration, it really flourishes. So those are the 2 angles that we're going to look at today. So first of all, decide what relationship you want to take a look at. Is it your relationship to your creative practice, whatever that practice may be, to your writing, to drawing, or is it a specific relationship, maybe even a romantic relationship, or a relationship that you have to your career or to your dreams? So first of all, just take a moment to get clear about what relationship you want to work. Okay. So the first writing exercise, going to do 2 minutes as we always do, and I'll set the timer and write alongside you. So the first exercise that is going to give us some insight is this. We're looking at expectations. So whatever this thing that you've chosen, whether it's creative practice, a current romantic relationship, your work, what does this thing have to be? Okay, so what box, what terms are you making upon this thing? And it has to deliver, it has to be this thing. So what do you expect of it? Okay, so the prompt is, what does this area that you have chosen to work in, what does this area have to be? Okay, 2 minutes, off you go. Okay, there we go, 2 minutes. So let's just take a moment to reflect. I felt slightly challenged by this prompt, I have to say. So I did what I usually do, which is to reuse the prompt as the first sentence. So I chose my writing and I put my writing has to be, and the next word that I found that came up was fulfilling. And I think in that word, it really showed me what expectations I was putting on my writing. It has to be fulfilling, like, gosh, so that means that it can't be crummy, it can't be unsatisfying, I can't have a dud day. So I really started to get an idea of what expectations I was putting on my writing, and that if my writing were a thing, a person, that kind of pressure would be quite a lot. Like if someone put that pressure on me that I had to always fulfill them, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm kind of running out of ideas after like the first week. So I put, it has to be a process that I always enjoy. And again, it did make me reflect. Does that mean that if I sit down to write and I don't enjoy it, that I've somehow failed, that I'm somehow not a writer that day? So there was a lot of reflection going on in my mind as I was writing this, that I wanted to be this process of writing, fulfilling, I had to enjoy it. I have to always hit the spot, find insights about myself or word combinations that I'm proud of. And it really showed me that this thing called writing that I'm pulling into my life and I'm saying you've got to be this and you've got to be this and you've got to be this. I began to get a sense of this thing called writing sort of being like, my God, this is so exhausting. And then finally I started to imagine if I didn't write, like I was imagining writing as this like, oh my God, this is so exhausting. I always have to fulfill you. I always have to be amazing. So I thought, okay, well, what if I gave writing a day off? What if I gave writing a week off? And the first thing that came to my mind was I would be a mad woman if I didn't write at least a page a day. So not only does writing have to fulfill me, writing is serving this purpose of stopping me being a mad woman. So it was really interesting to get that insight into the stakes, into the amount of pressure that I'm putting on my writing, so that my writing can't just turn up and be like, you know what, I feel like having a dud day. I feel like not being fulfilling for you. I feel like not giving you the words that you're looking for today. I feel like not enabling you to have an insight. So here's where we step into the second part of the practice, the second exercise. So first of all, it's really useful to look at expectations. So whatever area you chose to look in, we just get really clear and honest about what we need from this thing. I try to practice being self-aware, but that's not to say that there aren't huge parts of me that really need stuff. So it's always really useful to be aware of the depth of those needs and to be aware of how that depth or how that need is informing the way that we act, the way that I act. So we come from expectations, what we need, into this place of unconditional love, which is a place of freedom, which is a place of, I don't need anything from you or from this thing or from this act. I simply need, or not even need, I simply feel my heart, my passion, my depth. So I don't need anything else. So I want you to begin to imagine what it would be like to set this area free. Okay, so whatever area you've chosen, your creative practice, a relationship, your work, just begin to imagine setting it free. Okay, and also just begin to notice if that is like impossible or that feels uncomfortable. We've come from the expectations, what you need from it. So now we're just saying, you know what, you can be, you can go. That's totally fine with me. So we're going to step into the second writing exercise, and I want you to describe what it would be like to set this area free. So for me, I'm going to describe what it would be like to set my writing free. So describe what it would be like to set this area free, to allow it to be what it likes, and to love it for whatever it is. Okay? So you're going to describe what it would be like to set this area free, to allow it to be whatever it likes, and to love it for what it is. 2 minutes, off you go. Okay, there we go, 2 minutes. So how was that one for you? I found that really interesting. I started off by saying, if I set my writing free, it would go off and be in the world in the same way that I am when I'm not writing. And it was really nice to think about my writing in that way, because it was a liberation from not writing and sort of looking at the world and thinking, what am I going to write next? Where am I going to get my ideas from? It gave me a sense that because I'd freed my writing, it was going off and it was getting recharged and it was finding inspiration. And in that separation and freedom, that was the best place to allow things to just mulch and grow, and that when we came back together, it would be there. And I actually really liked that thought. There wasn't a sense of jealousy as a kind of, oh, well, I wonder what my writing's doing. You know, my writing isn't with me right now. Because it was an appreciation that I myself was enjoying my own freedom from always having to write or always having to come up with ideas. And I actually I would be honest about the fact that I am enjoying my own freedom from writing, from having to have words, clever thoughts. We would just drift. And so to me, I realized that in giving my writing freedom, I was giving myself that freedom. And that with that sense of freedom was coming those things like fulfillment and enjoyment, the things that I was putting on my writing for my writing to give me, that in that separation, in that freedom, I was discovering, hey, I can actually do this myself. And so that it meant that when I came back with my writing, there wasn't going to be this sense of expectation because I already had the fulfillment that I was looking to my writing to give. We can find so much self-awareness through words on the page, through just putting down our thoughts as they come to us. And even just 2-minute exercises like that can bring things up that we just didn't realize were there. So take this into your weekend, into your week ahead. Allow those insights to just continue to grow and continue to inform you and continue to inform your practice, your journey, your career, your relationship. And if you like the way that I work with these questions, with the writing, then you will absolutely love coming to one of my live events. So check out the website and find out what the theme for the next month is going to be, and I would love to see you there.